Hey, so today we're going to build an ecosystem completely from scratch. And while we're at it, we're going to create the ultimate study guide for your big science test. Ready to start building? Let's do this.
So I'm guessing that big test on ecosystems is coming up, right? And yeah, I know, all those new words and concepts can feel like a total jumble in your head. But don't you worry, we are going to make it all click. Because you've totally got this. We're not just going to talk about ecosystems. Nope, we're going to build one right here, piece by piece. And trust me, by the end, you'll be more than ready to totally ace that test. Okay, first things first. Every single ecosystem, I don't care if it's a giant forest or just a tiny puddle, is made of the same two types of building blocks. So let's check them out.
Here they are, our two main building blocks, biotic and abiotic. Now here's a great way to remember this. Seriously, think of bio like in biology. You know that means life, right? And the little letter A at the beginning of a word usually means not or without. So biotic is the living stuff and abiotic is the non-living stuff. Simple.
So let's start with the biotic factors. These are all the living or even once living parts of our ecosystem. You've got the big stuff, like trees and squirrels. But don't forget the tiny little powerhouses like mushrooms and bacteria. They're just as important. And now for our other building blocks, the abiotic factors. These are all the non-living things that our living creatures absolutely need to survive. I mean, think about it. Plants need sunlight and water to grow, animals need air to breathe, and pretty much everyone needs the soil and rocks to live on. So let's lock this in. If your test asks for the definition of abiotic factor, you'll know it's any living thing in an ecosystem. A tree? Biotic. A little fly? Biotic. A mushroom? You guessed it. Biotic.
And for abiotic factors, it's just as simple. Any non-living part of an ecosystem. So if you see a question about water, or rocks, or even sunlight, you'll know instantly. That's abiotic. Easy points.
Okay, so we've got our biotic and our abiotic building blocks. Now, where do they all live? We need to talk about their whole neighborhood and then their specific street address. The ecosystem, that's the whole neighborhood. Just picture a forest. You've got the biotic, foxes chasing the biotic rabbits, and they all rely on the abiotic water from the stream and the abiotic soil under their paws. See? It's all connected. And if the ecosystem is the whole forest, then the habitat is an animal's specific home, its address. So for that rabbit, its habitat might be a burrow right under a tree. For a family of frogs, their habitat is the pond. It's their own special spot inside that bigger ecosystem. All right, we have our parts and we have our place. Now it's time for some action. The most exciting stuff that happens in an ecosystem often comes down to one thing: who's eating whom? Let's dive into the drama of predators and prey. First up, let's talk about predators. These guys are the hunters of the ecosystem. A fox on the prowl for a rabbit, a hawk circling way up in the sky. These are predators in action. And well, if you're the one being hunted, you're the prey. The rabbit running from the fox, the little fish trying to escape a bigger fish, they are the prey in this relationship. Now, here is a classic test question. What do you think would happen if all the predators, let's say all the foxes in a forest, just disappeared? What would happen to all those rabbits? Think about it. You got it. Without the foxes around, the rabbit population would just explode. This is a super important idea for your test. Predators are absolutely crucial for keeping an ecosystem in balance. They make sure one species doesn't just take over and eat all the food. So we have our nice, balanced ecosystem. But what happens when a new character shows up, totally uninvited, and starts breaking all the rules? This is where we get a major plot twist. Okay, this is a crazy but true story. Just look at this timeline. It starts back in the 1930s. The problem? Beetles were eating all the sugarcane crops in Australia. So someone had an idea. Let's bring in cane toads from South America to eat the beetles. Genius, right? Well, the result was a disaster. The toads were poisonous, so none of the local predators could eat them. Their population exploded and they became a huge problem. That cane toad is the perfect example of our next key term, an invasive species. It's any organism that's introduced to a new ecosystem where it doesn't belong, and then causes harm. They're the ultimate uninvited guests who just mess the whole party up. Whoa. Okay, we've built our ecosystem, we've seen it in action, and we've even seen it get totally disrupted. Now it's time for a lightning round review to lock in all these key terms for your test. This is it. All right, here it is, your ultimate cheat sheet for the test. Let's do a super quick recap. Biotic, it's living. Abiotic, non-living. Ecosystem, the whole neighborhood. Habitat, the home address. Predator, it hunts. Prey, it gets hunted. And an invasive species, the harmful party crasher. Seriously, pause here and quiz yourself until you've got it down cold.
And there you have it. From the tiniest bacteria to the biggest predators, you now have all the building blocks to understand any ecosystem they throw at you. You are so ready for this test. You've got this.
I'll leave you with one final thought. Now that you know all the rules that keep an ecosystem in balance, how can you help protect the one that's right outside your own door? Thanks for building with me today.